In a world where every structure tells a story, one name has been crafting narratives of success for 100 years, C.E. Gleason Constructors. For a century, we've been the general contractors of opportunity, the builders of dreams. From retail developments to state-of-the-art industrial complexes, real estate developments, and senior living communities. Our legacy is defined by the diverse portfolios of projects we've brought to life. With a commitment to craftsmanship, we've transformed visions into reality. Here's to 100 years. Let us help you expand your business. C.E. Gleason Constructors, building visions and turning dreams into reality.
Welcome to Pickleball, Michigan and Beyond, a show that explores the people, players, places, and most importantly, communities that make up pickleball in Michigan and around the world. Here's your host, Tony Conley.
Welcome to Pickleball, Michigan and Beyond. I'm Tony Conley. Thanks so much for joining us. We got a great interview today. We love talking to pickleball instructors, especially for the beginner and intermediate stages like myself is on. Ryan Anderson is a high school special education teacher, but he's also the beginning and intermediate pickleball facilitator for the Williamston Fitness Center, which is affiliated with Williamston Community Schools. Ryan, how are you?
I'm good. How you doing, Tony?
Good. How you living, man?
Living good. I did just get my postcard in the mail, though, for my back to school stuff. So I'll have to shift gears.
No. Well, we'll try and get you geared up a little bit of that. I think you and I ran into each other some years ago. You were telling me you think we coached flag football against each other. So that's a pretty cool deal.
Yep.
Well, see, going against you must have helped because I've got a son playing football at Western Michigan, and I'm sure he said it was all because of Ryan Anderson's comment. Well, let's talk a little bit about your background. Take us from high school to where you are now.
Oh man, yeah. So in high school, I was a 3-sport athlete. Always, grew up playing sports, football in the fall, basketball in the winter, and then back then, boys tennis was in the spring. And I went to Holt High School, and our varsity football coach, Mike Smith, was also the tennis coach, oddly enough, because he was a tight end at Michigan State. He was a big, strong dude, but he was like, come on, you're playing tennis. And I had played a little bit, growing up, with my dad and brothers and stuff. So, I was familiar with tennis. And then, fast forward to 2022, I do a lot of like basketball open gyms and things like that at the MAC, couple of sprained ankles later, and then I ruptured my bicep tendon in 2022, had surgery. I was, a little bit down and out, like I was used to going and doing things all the time. Like you can't really do much. And then my uncle was like, come on, let's play pickleball. He's like, you could, just mess around and try some left-handed at first. So that's how it started. And probably like October, November, 2022. And then just never stopped playing. Never went back to basketball either.
Ryan, I cannot tell you how many guys I run into, and I'm one of those guys. I played basketball until I had no cartilage left in my ankle. It was bone on bone, so I had to get ankle replacement surgery. So trying to figure out what I'm going to do for cardio, need to do something either little to no impact. So I was playing sand volleyball in the summer, so that was kind of cool. And someone, Jesse Stipkak, had been trying to get me to play pickleball for a while. And I just thought, I don't want to play with all these fat old people. I'm not going to get a workout in. It's not competitive. Well, the first 3 weeks, I just got besieged and got my butt handed it to me. And then I played against a 90-year-old guy. He was 90 out in Hazlitt. Open, we were just playing, open games. And he handed it to me too because he knew where to place the ball. But what I found is there's a lot of guys like us that maybe were hoopers or whatever, and just were looking for a way where you can be competitive, where you can get a sweat in, and where you can move around a little bit. And, my wife wears her watch, her Apple Watch with her. She tells me she'll burn 800 to 1,000 calories per 2-hour pickle session. So I think there's a lot of guys like us that maybe were discounting the power of pickleball.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You hit the nail on the head. That's exactly why I went and tried it and then have stayed with it. Like, I don't like to do any sort of cardio that's like running on a treadmill or, something mundane. Like I need to compete, have some fun, not realize I'm running around But yeah, I mean, 1,000 calories is not abnormal at all in a good two-hour session of pickleball.
So tell me, when you first started playing, what got you hooked?
Oh man. Well, first it was just I was hanging out with my uncle, my brothers, like we were kind of like the first group that I played with, so that was a blast. Like I said, I needed something to do running around and I still didn't quite have full use of my right arm. So pickleball being, a smaller court, like I could kind of, be competitive with them left-handed. And then it got excited, thinking, oh my gosh, once I go right-handed, like this is going to be, it's going to be even better, I would assume. And then I started doing open plays up at the MAC. I mean, back then it was like, 14, 16 courts in the dome and completely packed on everyone.
Mhm.
Met a lot of good friends through that. Met a buddy of mine, Ben, who now we've been doubles partners, like in tournaments and stuff for a few years now. And yeah, I mean, it's still 2 to 3 times a week for me.
And that's what has struck me the most. It kind of reminded me, Ryan, of AAU basketball. Both my boys played in that. We traveled all over the Midwest playing. And I always found it interesting when my kids went to play against these guys in their high schools or other tournaments. They had friends. They had people that they knew who they still stay in touch with. And it seems like the social community for pickleball is that and maybe much, much more.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I run into all sorts of people, a lot of times, even at my 101 classes, they're like, we're retired, we're empty nesters now, we need something to do. Or it's, yeah, I can't go play this sport anymore. Or, like I've met some people along the way, who their spouse passed away, and then pickleball kind of saved them as a community and a social group to hang out with, and just have those interactions as opposed to, sitting at home and feeling depressed. So yeah, I think it's done wonders for a lot of people.
All right. So how did you get into the instruction, to the teaching part of pickleball?
So a couple buddies of mine that I play with at the MAC like signed up and did this PPR class, and I mean my background, like I said, I'm a special ed teacher. I coached football over at Holt for 18 years or whatever, and I coached middle school basketball. I was like, if I'm really into this pickleball and I love teaching and coaching, I might as well go, get this certification so that if I want to, I can do that. I don't want to go out and just be teaching people and not have any sort of credentials with it. So I was like, yeah, I'll go do this class. And it was great. And then I met with Paige, the AD over at Williamston, because he runs the community center stuff too, and was,
Mhm.
hey, here's my proposal. Like, I'd love to run some classes. And then it's been going since then, almost a year now.
So what's the process to become an instructor? Take us back to how that happened.
Yeah. So the PPR class that I went through, that's oh gosh, like professional pickleball. I don't know if it's registry or something along those lines, but they do classes all over, the USA. I saw that there was one coming to Grand Haven. That was the closest one for us. So I signed up, made my payments, went over there, and then it was a full day course. I think there were about 16-ish people there. And then the lady that ran the class, her name is Taylor, and she's actually on like the senior pickleball, professional tour. And so she ran that class. She did amazing. She's teaching you, the details and the fundamentals of a shot, you know what I mean? The different stuff for pickleball. Whereas, I know that stuff if I'm teaching football or basketball, but for pickleball, I was just out there, running around, hitting the ball, trying to make it in a certain spot. So it was an all day class. You had to do some live instruction there that she observed you doing. And then you go home. If you passed that in-person day, then they send you a written test that you then have to do at home.
So you started teaching. I know here in Williamston, my wife attended one of your beginning classes, and she said it was awesome. So for folks looking to learn about pickleball, talk a little bit about your beginning class and then also your intermediate class, that 201, I believe it is.
Yep. Yeah. So our 101 class, that's our basic beginner class. We're going to teach you the rules of the game. We're going to give you some basic shots. Our number one goal is always to have some fun. Pickleball is supposed to be a social, fun game. But when they leave Pickleball 101, I would like people to be able to go, set up a game with a couple of friends or some family and have a pretty good idea of how to keep score and how to move around on the court. The 201 then just kind of takes it a next level. We go through, different drills and strategies and things like that. My philosophy or my thought and belief is like, once you figure out, I think the hardest thing is how to keep score. You know, the scoring is hard to keep intact. Where to stand, when you can be in the non-volley zone / kitchen, you know, when can I hit the ball out of the air and not. But once you have that down, then your game, I believe, takes a huge leap, because now you're not thinking all the time. You can just play and react and strategize. So that's what the 201 kind of gets into.
So after the 201 class, where should players go to? Because guys like me, that's the next step.
Yeah, I mean, so yeah, I just do the 101, 201. I always recommend and send out the information for some people to get set up right through the community center. There's a group of people, a great group that plays in the mornings. If it's inclement weather or wintertime, they play right in the gymnasium. If it's nice weather, they play over at McCormick Park. There's two courts over there. So I always recommend getting involved with a group, going to some open plays, you know, like either there or Hillbrook or, you know, Patriarch. And the one thing I always tell them too is when you go there for the first time, let everybody know that you're a beginner and you're just getting started. And then, I mean, I've never met anyone that knows that and isn't super patient and super inviting and wants to try and help teach them along the way.
So why is pickleball growing so much, not only worldwide, but and here in the States, but in the state of Michigan?
Yeah, I mean, I think a big thing is, you know, like we talked about, like it's a social group. It's a way to be active no matter what your age is or your athletic background. You would think, and at least I did originally, like, oh yeah, all these people that are good, they must have a tennis background. No, I've met a lot of people who, with, you know, it might be a racquetball or a squash, or it might be no racket sport at all. Like maybe they were, you know, baseball, softball, soccer, whatever. But I think it just gives you a competitive group, social group where you can go be active and play a sport. You know, it's hard at, you know, age, you know, 45 or 55 or 65 to go join a basketball league or, you know, go pick up tennis even. Like the numbers are just so big with pickleball. I mean, if you go at the right time to the courts, you're always going to be able to get games in.
Ryan, funniest thing you've seen, or can you tell us a funny story from something that was cracking you up when you were teaching over the last couple of years?
Oh man. I'm trying to think that not a lot of super like funny things. Like, I mean, the one thing, and I know you said funny, and this isn't funny, but it strikes me every single time I do a class over there at Williamston. There's not one time that I have went and, you know, tore down the nets and picked up all the equipment by myself at the end of the night. Every single time, 4 or 5 of the people, sometimes the whole group, they always offer and want to come help and take that down. I know that's not funny. I would say the funniest thing, though, usually those happen like when I'm out playing myself. And I mean, the funniest thing with the group I play with is definitely let cords. Like if somebody wins a point off at hitting the net and dropping, seeing the reactions of the different people in the group, you know, because it's a competitive group, you know, or accidentally body bagging somebody, you know, hitting one right off their body. But everybody's cool about it.
Yeah, and there's lessons to be learned. I can remember a couple of times when I was not receiving the serve. I was in the other square and just not paying attention. And twice I got hit. And if you get hit on the serve, you lose the point. Boy, did that tick me off. It really fired me up for that game. And then I also, being a volleyball player, if I can get to a ball, I'm going to try and get to it. A few times I went down on a hip trying to get to a point and ended up with a bruise or a strawberry. And so I've kind of learned not so much not to do that, but you really have to stay on your feet, move your feet, anticipate shots.
Absolutely.
Tell us, who's the best amateur player you've seen in the state of Michigan, or some of the best amateur players?
Oh man, I tell you, me and my buddy, we play regularly with like the 2 top amateur females, I believe, in the state, Downey Fernberg and Kristen Reinhardt. They're both local right here. Downey teaches at Court 1. They both play a lot at Court 1 in the MAC. But those are definitely 2 of the top females. I'd say in the area for males, you have Daniel Howard, Xavier. There's a really, really good group in this area. Like not as much volume wise, I think, as, you know, like a Grand Rapids, Ann Arbor, Metro Detroit, but there's some really good play over here.
Best pros you've seen, maybe from the state of Michigan or outside the state?
Well, I was lucky enough. I went over to the Beer City Open this year in Grand Rapids, so I was able to watch Anna Lee Waters play, and she's, you know, widely considered the best female in the sport. by far. So that was pretty cool to watch.
Ryan, what makes her so good?
She's a competitor one. You can see like she is a fierce competitor. She's consistent. She's always locked in. She's not, taking a point off here or there. And she isn't scared of anybody. Like I said, she's a competitor. She's right up there waiting for whatever, whether it's a mixed match and she's going against a male across from her or a female, she's going to play her game.
My mentor, Jesse Stipkak, who I mentioned earlier, has told me she thinks the secret to pickleball is just being patient, hitting the shots to maybe get your opponent a little out of position so they just can't smack it back at you, and then waiting for the kill shot. But it's the patience, especially for competitive people like me, that I've tried to learn. Would you agree with her?
Oh, 100%. That's what I always tell my students in the class too. Like placement over power. You don't want to attack too soon. And it's hard to do because I do it all the time myself. Like you see one and you believe that you can put that away, and then you don't always put it away.
Ryan, I know you've had the opportunity to go to a lot of different facilities, indoors and out. What are some of the coolest places you've been to in the state of Michigan and maybe outside?
Oh, outdoor is Belknap by far over in Grand Rapids. Just the sheer size and the number of courts there. When I was there for the MLP event, they set up a big grandstand. So you got like a little stadium setting for, two of the courts there. Indoor, oh man, indoor, I would say at least like locally right here, Court 1, they just redid some beautiful courts over at their north campus there. And they also just put in air conditioning. So that's nice on a lot of these super hot days. Brighton has a nice new facility. The Wolverine pickleball over in Ann Arbor is nice. There's a lot of good places in the area. And then I play mostly over at the MAC myself.
All right. Ryan, do you get geared up? Do you have some nice gear that you like, and shoes, racket, clothes?
Well, luckily enough, like when I started my certification thing, I sent in a letter, and 60 is a pickleball company. They have paddles and, apparel and things like that. So I'm able to get a discount through them as one of their like ambassador, salespeople or whatever. So I always have that. I'm a huge Miami Hurricanes fan, so a lot of times I'll have something, with the U logo on it. That's on my backpack as well. But more than anything, I just try to go for some comfort, man. I sweat quite a bit out there, so.
Well, I see your JoJo and Low stuff on,
yeah.
So yeah, I have to put my hat on that. I should have had it on earlier, but I know they have pretty good apparel too.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And this is actually from their tournament this year in May, which I did the Saturday doubles with my regular partner, Ben. And then on Sunday, they had a family one. So I got to play with my 13-year-old son, him and I, against other like father, son, mother, daughter, grandparent, grandkid. That was a blast.
How do the kids feel about pickleball?
They loved it. So I did a camp this summer over at Williamston. We had 12 spots that filled up within a week. We had anywhere from, I think we had going into fourth grade through going into seventh grade. By day 2, they were getting there a little bit early before camp started. They were just starting matches on their own without me saying or doing anything. So that, like, I remember sitting there, like 10 minutes before we started, and there's like 3 matches going on, and I haven't said a word. They just came in, talked with each other, figured out who's playing who, and just got going.
So Ryan, for folks who'd like to know more about the classes that you teach and get information about that, where can they go?
Yep. So I have a Facebook and an Instagram page. It's Pickleball and then the number 4 all. I post all my stuff on both of those. I'll usually put things up on the Williamson community Facebook pages. And then just kind of word of mouth. I had somebody text me today that they had heard about the classes and wanted to know about getting into the next one. So I'll just shoot them a text when I have that ready.
When's your next classes coming up in the fall, you think?
Yeah, tonight I have a 101 class, actually. So that's my next one. And then I put an email out or a message out to Paige, and then he'll get back with me on dates, and then I'll set up a couple more.
All right, final question for you, Ryan. For people who are apprehensive and still think that you and I don't know what we're talking about, how it looks, what would you do to encourage them to give it a try?
Come on out, give it a try. You're competitive. Let's if it's as easy and as slow as you think, it'll only take you about a half hour to figure out that you're too good for it. So just give it a 30-minute try and then go from there.
All right, we've been talking with Ryan Anderson, who, beyond being a high school special ed instructor, he's a beginner and intermediate pickleball facilitator for the Williamston Center, which is part of Williamston Community Schools. Ryan, I appreciate you so much. Can't wait to meet you. I would say I can't wait to play against you, but I think your game's a little further than mine is now. But looking forward to saying hello. I appreciate your time so much. Thank you.
Cool. Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Want to thank all of our listeners and the folks who watch us on YouTube or at Pickleball Michigan and beyond our website. Thanks so much for tuning in. You can follow us on YouTube, SoundCloud, as well as Facebook. Until we see you again next time. Thanks so much. I'm Tony Conley. Benjamin Robinson is our great executive producer, and we'll see you next time here on Michigan Pickleball and beyond.
Thanks for listening to Pickleball Michigan and Beyond. Follow us on Facebook and check out our website, pickleballmichiganandbeyond.com.